Welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. It is a fabulous day in the neighborhood. Yes, we're expecting temperatures upwards of 80, which we've been waiting for a month. It's high desert, what's called high desert here, and so we have like zero humidity, and so the heat is a kind of a dry heat. It just soaks into your bones. Yeah, but it doesn't have any humidity to it, so no plumping up of the wrinkles here. It's the mountains are out, they're still covered with snow, and I don't think I have seen that in 2 or 3 years. Usually by August the snow's pretty much gone off the mountains, but in the last few years, probably with global warming, sometimes there's no snow on the mountain before June, which is, I don't particularly care for that, but there's still a ton of snow up there, which makes it so pretty, because I like when it's starting to melt and you see some of the rocks in between the snow, and it's all the little craggy parts are more exposed. And so we have like a spotting scope in our great room, and I can look up at the mountain and see where avalanches have happened, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun just to take a peek up there, but there's not a breath of wind, which is absolutely wonderful. That's my least favorite, is when it's windy. But yeah, it's just a gorgeous day. We had a wonderful time camping. It was just a nice break from the news, and we did not take part in the hot springs pools because there was zero social distancing there, and I was only one of 3 people even wearing a mask in the campground, so we pretty much stayed to ourselves. We watched a lot of movies. We did go on a hike. We never even saw one person when we went on our walk. It was kind of drizzly rain, but it was beautiful. And G put some pictures of some of the areas around where we were camped in the Quilt Roadie video. So if you want to see the actual area around where we were, that's on the Quilt Roadies. But other than that, it was a very nice break. It was wonderful to see family. We took just an afternoon day trip further over the mountain into Portland, and stopped at my cousin's for just a few minutes to see their little real faces, and then we went to my younger son's house, and we sat on the front porch with our youngest grandson and celebrated his birthday with him. And it was just what the heart needed. It was just what the heart needed. And where we were camped has absolutely zero Wi-Fi. So there's no social media, there's no current television type watching. We took DVDs with us and watched old DVDs that we had. And I can't call. I could get texts, messages in, but my responses didn't always go out. It was quite interesting. And so it was a total break from reality. Which is what we need sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes we need a total break from reality. The thing about it was, when it came to my stitching, I was like, I can't even explain it. There's no explanation for it. I decided on a whim to only take 2 projects with me, and one I didn't even touch there, and that was my Blackbird. I took it just in case, but so you can see where I am in the process. Oh my gosh, it's just, there I am. And this is a freebie chart that is, you get it off of Facebook, and it's by the Stitching Book Club. They have it posted on their site on Facebook, and you can join. I think anybody can join that Facebook group, and they usually stitch in relationship to a book they're reading. But this was a freebie chart, and it was this based on the Beatles song, you know, Blackbird, and that was written by Paul McCartney. He was inspired to write the lyrics of that song and the music in a combination of the song of the Blackbird in India and the current state of racial unrest and rioting in America. So, in the 1960s. So I decided, I just loved it. I not only loved that song, but I loved the simplicity of this chart. And I decided to stitch it in honor of Emmett Till, who was a 14-year-old boy who was murdered in 1955, 2 years after we were born. And 14-year-old boy murdered because he had the chutzpah to ask a white woman out on a date, on a dare. You know, it was a tragic loss, that story. But if you want to read it, you can Google about him and read that story. I won't go into the details here. But that's what I'm stitching that particular chart in memory of. I didn't touch it though. I didn't touch it once that entire camping trip because I got so focused on this new project. You know, I thought new projects were done for after May. Mania's over, and so new projects are, you know, there shouldn't be any new projects. There's no shoulds in cross stitch, but you know, you want to gear up in June with your whips because come July, if you want to participate in Jolly July, you've got new things to add to it. And I do have a couple of Christmas bags coming, but I think the reason I started this new project was, for whatever reason, I needed safety and boundaries, if that makes any sense. It's like I didn't want to do anything totally challenging in terms of color changes. I just wanted to do something I could get my teeth into and just doggedly move forward, and I think that was just the simplicity of my decision. And so I decided to take the Tiny Modernists Halloween Ouija, which is an interesting concept to me because I've not done it before. I've done something similar in the quilting world. In the quilting world, we have like blocks of the month or blocks of the week in which you sign up for a program, and then you don't actually know what you're piecing together, but every month you get a package, most often with the fabric that's required, and then you sew that block and you put it together. that's a common event in the quilting world, but I've not seen or participated in anything like that in the cross stitch world. But when Michelle Bendy was talking about the Halloween Ouija, and she must have seen how cute it was or something, and she said, oh, you're gonna want to do this. And then I said, of course I want to do it. Of course I want to do it. So I ordered it, and it's a 5-part series by Tiny Modernist. And so you get, on the 15th of each month, you get whatever needs to be stitched in that month. And so on June 15th, or the day before that, we received part 1. And so I'll give you a little peek here. So this is the Tiny Modernist Halloween Ouija, and so you have that center block is the very first stitch, including the border edge. And I tell you, I jumped on that like a dog, or like a duck on a June bug. And I have been working away. Oh yeah, you could tell there's something going on here. I just could not stop. So we're going to be stitching along today for a bit while I stitch on this. And then once I get all the border done, then I'm going to start working on the center motif, was just quite big, because if you see that house is just going to be a big labor intensive. And I like all things Halloween. I think it's just fun. What's interesting about this is it's called Modern Prim Style. So literally, the entire project uses only 3 colors of floss, DMC floss. 3 colors, that's it. I just know I'm gonna be like I need to. Okay, I think once I get all the border pieces done, I may start a little bit of the center, but then I really have to put this down, and I have to focus on my Korean peeps. I really need to get into that big time. And yeah, and then there's Jolly July, which I have been revamping and revamping and revamping. Yeah. It's a good life, isn't it? So, yeah. So that's what I did. It rained at camping, you know. I had my little daylight lamp with me in the van, and I stitched while I watched DVDs if I wasn't out walking in the rain. Yeah. And now this week, it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, absolutely gorgeous. I had to laugh at my little grandson, though. You know, everybody thinks their grandchildren are the absolute cat's meow, but my little guy is so funny. He is quite the character, and his verbal skills, everything is just off the charts with him. And so we're all sitting around his sandbox. He has like an octagon shaped sandbox in the backyard, and so we have our chairs socially distanced around the sandbox. And then his other grandparents, who live in not far from him, came over for a visit, and it was so funny because as soon as he saw them, he goes, "Oh, oh, this is Nana and G." Like he was introducing us to his other grandparents. It was just so cute. So cute. Yeah, I can't wait till the next time I can see him. Yeah, and then I got him to wear a little mask. I found some children's masks already made up that were really cute and soft at the Crafter's Warehouse. So I picked up a couple for him there. But let's get to doing some stitching while we talk, huh? Because I got to get this border done. I can't seem to think about anything else without doing this. So this is the weird thing. Maybe you guys know about this. Okay, so when I decided to stitch this project, I was like really pleased that it only took 3 different colors of DMC, and so I bought the amount they said, and then I went through my stash pile to look for something to stitch it on, the fabric. And so I picked this fabric, which is, it's a 32 count fabric. What is it? I think the paper's in here. It was in my pile. Oh, it's a 32 count even weave, which I really like. Let me see the color. Historic Beige Dyed Effect 32 count even weave. Yeah. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I really love the color of it. It's, you can see the modeling. It's kind of a beige gray model color, but what's really weird is the back of it is white. Yeah, look at this. Do you see that? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like the color's on the front, but there's no color on the back of it. Yeah, that's actually the difference from the front and the back. Now, have you ever seen that before? That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, you know, because I get, you know, like Fortnite fabric, you know, the same color on the front and the back, basically. I don't even know if there is a front or a back. I mean, the colors, always the linen that I've gotten, it always seems like you just kind of, might be a slight variation, but this is actually totally different on the back of it than the front of it. So maybe you know what's going on there? I mean, how did they do that? You know, but it is a solid white, you know, solid white on the back. So yesterday I enjoyed a little Zoom gathering with Erin, 2 Martini Stitches, hosts the Thursday afternoon gathering, and it's a nice time to take a break from your own company. Not that I'm pretty interesting, aren't I? Yeah. And you let me do all the talking. Yeah. So, but occasionally I'm finding that I definitely need the interaction. Because this guy here is kind of boring. Yeah. And so it was really nice to catch up with the gals and see whatever. But here's the thing, you're zooming along and you get to see what other people are working on, and then you talk about, you know, Jolly July, or you talk about something, and then suddenly I'm on my phone shopping. I have to look for something that someone's talking about. Oh my gosh, it's like, it is quite the challenge. And oh, freaking out this morning I was. Printer ink running out. That's almost like not having floss. If you're a PDF, you know, you like to download or copy patterns, you know, not only make working copies, but you buy PDF downloads or stuff, and you run out of printer ink, it is, let me just say, the sailor in me, the cross-stitching sailor in me came out, because one of the Zoom Stitchers, cross-filled stitcher, let the group know that Long Dog Sampler was had released a free chart, and a free Long Dog sampler. They were going to, they had designed it to release for their anniversary date in 2021, but the funny thing about it is that they had already designed the chart for release, and the name of the chart was Pandemic. How weird is that? And so they said, well, given that we're in a pandemic, we decided to release it a year early. So it was a free download on their site, and I was halfway through the printing when all of a sudden I realized I couldn't read the chart. And yeah, so yeah, now I have to get printer ink. Man, oh man. Yeah, I've been running out of printer ink and floss. And then I've been in close communication with Janine over at Acorns and Threads, because I am trying to get ready to be a participant in the stitch along of the Teresa Kogut's Land That I Love. It's so pretty. It is so pretty. Which will be starting on July 4th. So if you want to join that, Sal, start getting your stuff together. I'm really liking this even weave. I know that it doesn't have all the irregularities of linen, but it's kind of fun to stitch with. I just can't get over why it's white on one side. How did that happen? Huh. So today I have to go over to the next town to pick up my a prescription of mine at the drugstore, and I'm gonna stop at Joann's and see if they have some floss that I need. It's not a big Joann's, it's kind of a small one, but they might have some of what I need. So you see, I'm using my stitching pillow. I forgot to take it camping because I washed it and then I put it in the dryer, and then when it came out I totally forgot to put it back in the camper. But I like the support that it gives my shoulders and my arms, and that tutorial is on Quilt Roadies. If you were to Google Quilt Roadies pillow, it would probably come up. What I'm really quite proud of myself about is it, oh no, maybe I shouldn't say it. Oh, okay, I have some wood right here. Is that so far every rectangle and square has met up. Yeah, so glad about that. Really glad about that. Yeah, I've been slowly catching up on Floss Tubes. It's kind of interesting. I go through spurts, you know, and I don't pay attention to the what do you call that, the quarantine brain here. I don't, when I look at my Quilt Roadies or Floss or Stitch Roadies YouTube channels, the analytics of it, I don't study in depth what that all means. I just can tell the waxing and the waning of viewership. And what I have noticed, especially since I've been doing this so long in the quilt world, is that summer months viewership goes way down because we're able to get out and have some fun. And I usually have a uptick around our quilt show time, and so it's the same. I've noticed the same with Stitch Roadies and you know, and Quilt Roadies, is that this time of year comes around again, and then your readership goes down and your subscriber rate kind of bottoms out, and they put all these red alert signs like you're going to actually try to do something about it. All you want to do is just relax and have a good time with your virtual family out there. And so it's kind of interesting that they're worried about it. I'm not worried about it because it happens every year, and I find it in my own behavior, and so I've been somewhat lax in watching Floss Tubes because camping with no Wi-Fi or busy, or yesterday morning I spent all morning out weeding my flower beds and planting new flowers. You know, there's just life opens up. We have had the benefit of all being together when we sheltered in place, but now it seems like the weather's letting us at least get out in our own yards, and boy, do we need that. But I like my I try to keep up on my regulars, you know, and even then it's somewhat difficult. I'm counting down the days that I can meet Becca from SamBrie Stitches at Acorns and Threads, maybe sometime in July. I am hoping, you know, and you grieve about those things that you're gonna miss, like, you know, when we used to have First Thursday meetups at the at Acorns and Threads, you know, to Martini Stitches. She would take the train down from the Seattle area, and you know, she'd stitch on the train the whole way down. It was just a lovely day, but you know, she's not feeling the love about driving down because she don't get to stitch. You know, and really public transportation is somewhat of a iffy thing now. Although on our local news, we had, they showed a guy whose business, he has a new business where he fogs restaurants to disinfect them, you know, and sprays like that. G said, "Oh, he looks like a Ghostbuster." Who you gonna call? Yeah, yeah. So he did. He looked just like a Ghostbuster. And then there was some news item about, you know, like those Roomba vacuum things. My sister has one of those. I couldn't. I don't know. It's too weird to me. But there actually is a device like that vacuum cleaner that mows your lawn. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Times are a-changing, aren't they? Times are a-changing. I was happy to see that Ellen's Power Hour, you know, that she put out a video, and my gosh, that girl, you know, she has no fear of big charts. I mean, you know, she doesn't pick out the little, oh, I'm gonna stitch this little house needleworks thing. No, she always brings out something that's like that. So I admire her, though. She just is such a beautiful stitcher. And well, this is somewhat big. I mean, I can say this is somewhat big. I really, really want to start the primitive hare, the owl on the primitive hare for my son. I really want to do that. But I feel like at this point, other than Jolly July and this one, I need to get the Korean peeps done. It felt so good to have finished the 3 quilts that I had ready to go, and to be done with those, that I know once I get the Korean peeps done, that then it's all rules out the door totally, you know, all rules, because I am going to want to start new stuff and make new stuff and that kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Well, I'm thinking that we should call it a day. I got errands to run, and it was so nice. It was so nice being with you. Because I really feel like you get me. Yeah, you get me. Or what was it that Sally Fields said at the Oscars? They like me. They really, really like me. She was so cute. Yeah. So until we meet again, please, if you know anything about why this fabric looks like this, it kind of weirds me out. It kind of weirds me out that it's like, how did it get two entirely different colors. Is this like a mistake or something? I don't know. I've never seen fabric like this before. And then the next time we meet, let's see what new things might have arrived. And maybe I'll get printer ink and I'll be able to, if you haven't gone on there for that long dog, you're going to want to. Every time I flip this over and I see the white, it kind of gives me a start, like, what happened here? Oh yeah, so now see, it's like I need more coffee this morning or something. Anyway, it was so nice spending time with you, and I'll see you next time, and I hope you have some fun stitching days. If not, get out and garden. There's nothing better for the soul than to put a flower on the ground. One that the deer won't eat, though. Love you guys. You guys take care, okay? And see you next time.